Welcome to the podcast, Keeping It Real. Today, I'd like to welcome Council Member for District 11, Jaynie Schultz, and Suzanne Smith with Social Impact Architect. Today's conversation is about the Dallas International District, a place in Dallas where we have a diverse population and plans in the very near future to improve that area so that we can do special events and really welcome people from different cultures and backgrounds. So, why don't we get started? What is the Dallas International District and where is it located, Jaynie?
Thank you, TC. It's so fun to be on this podcast. I'm thrilled. The Dallas International District is located between the Dallas North Tollway and Preston Road, and between Alpha Road and 635. It's really the regional main and main. It is the corner that is 20 minutes from anything in North Texas, including downtown Dallas, all the way up to Frisco. And the Dallas International District is itself an area that was named that. Suzanne will explain a little bit more about how we got the name, but it is also commonly known as the Valley View Galleria area. In fact, our tax increment financing district is still called the Mall area because it was created based on two malls that were beginning to decay. And so in 2013, former council member Linda Koop led an initiative with the city to sort of reimagine what these two malls could be like so that we didn't fall into problems with them, and came up with a full plan. It's 450 acres, and it's also one of the most forward-thinking plan development districts in the whole city because it's all form-based, which we can talk about at any time.
Well, listen, Suzanne, help me kind of orient me to where did the name come from first?
Yeah.
And what is the Dallas's opportunity, I guess, for residents and the international community and for tourists, I guess, from this international district?
It's a great question. So you know this because you've spent time in Dallas. Valley View was the place you went on the weekends. And so we're committed to making it the place you go on weekends moving forward. In fact, we just had a night market 2 weekends ago. We had over 3,000 people that came as from far away as Austin. And that's really what we want. We want that energy back into that community. But you asked a question of why Dallas International District. And so as Jaynie mentioned, we had all these incredibly smart people who came together and said, what's next? As we saw the transformation between malls to what is the future? And so I got an opportunity to spend time with all the people who came before me and said, okay, this is the plan we want. And interestingly enough, it was an incredibly forward-thinking plan for its time. And so I took a look at that plan. And in fact, I jokingly say I have a closet full of plans from the Valley View Galleria area. And that is true. And essentially looked at all these plans, but also looked around the world and said, what are other forward-thinking cities doing? And so we saw a number of cities in Canada, in Mexico, and in kind of global communities turning their Chinatowns into what's called the international districts. So we started looking at the area and recognized that the data also pointed in that direction and said we really, if we were to look at the very nexus for all the international communities in the North Texas area, the Dallas International District, the Valley View Galleria area, X marks the spot. And so as we looked at what they were doing, we saw as an opportunity, much like we have a design district and an arts district, to really elevate the conversation around Dallas being a global city. And so that's really where the name came from. So we borrowed it from people in Canada and other places. And now we've really set I think records around the last year and a half, really creating progress around it. And so when you have a good idea because everybody starts kind of recognizing why it's so important to the community. And so I think we've really hit on something really important. And so that's why I'm so glad we're here today to talk about it.
Well, listen, how are both of you, I guess, and how are we connecting, I guess, the world to Dallas and sharing Dallas with the world, I think, through this project?
It's our tagline. Do you like it?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, I think we're doing two things. One is starting with the area itself and the residents who live there. This is a qualified census tract. It's a historically neglected area over there. And so we are helping giving them a sense of identity of their own neighborhood. And so we saw that with the night market. There were hundreds of people who live in the area apartments who came to the market and were exploring and celebrating lots of different cultures that were there that night. And so at the hyper-local level, school, we are really working with those residents to give them a sense of identity. There are restaurants from all around the world that are over there, but they're very, very small. And so now we see improvements happening to those restaurants, new signs, new furniture. They're having that sense of pride. And then the other thing that we're doing is working through the building that the city acquired to open trade offices for countries from all around the world. And Suzanne can expound on that, I think, a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So that's really kind of one of the neat parts about this is as soon as we started doing this, we started getting calls from lots of different people saying we want to be part of it. And so I really have to thank the mayor and his international committee. They brought in the French trade office, which was amazing. We now have the European Chamber that's come in. We actually have some very interesting partnerships that are in the works. We actually opened for the first time an American Job Center. The Department of Labor has never seen that before, and we're actually doing it right in the International District. And one of the projects I'm most excited about, and I think Jaynie should talk more about it because this is really an area of her focus, is that we've got a new school that is going to be starting in the International District. So starting 2025, there's going to be little school children all over the Dallas International District. So do you want to tell them a little bit about the pre-K through 12 school?
Sure. Thank you very much. In fact, in the last DISD bond election, they chose to invest in a school that's going to be the first pre-K to 12 all in one building school. They bought an office building, so it's very urban in form. It's an 11-story building that they're remodeling, and it's going to be an international STEAM academy. So in forming the foundation for that school, we've been working very closely with the DISD senior leadership on making sure that the students come out trilingual with travel opportunities and having all kinds of interaction with the district itself. So that will be essentially their laboratory to try all kinds of things from science to art to music to everything. And all of these trade offices and lots of the other cultural centers around town already want to be a part with these students. So that's going to be another very vibrant part of the district.
Okay. Well, listen, this wouldn't be keeping it real if I didn't try to be real. So this project, obviously, and the International District and the history, I think, of all things going on in this particular area, that acreage you talked about. I guess I'll come back to something that I've been struggling with since I got here. When will this Dallas International District become a reality? Can you help shed some light and some joy in people's lives? When is this going to become a reality?
It is becoming a reality. Okay. Okay. And so what that means is because there are over 450 property owners over there, we can't take it like one big district like like the success that we've had, for example, with Redbird, where it's one owner who can make a lot of things happen. So it's a slow but sure incremental growth, and we're seeing it with the school, with the brand new, there's over 900 new apartments over there. There's a brand new hotel. There's another one coming online. So it's slow but steady incremental change on this. The catalyst for the entire shift, when we're really, really going to see that this is something, will be in the 2024 bond program, where if we are able to acquire the land for the park, we already have commitments from the property owners over there to build much more big, dense housing because it'll pencil out, things like that. This is the first park-centric district in the city. And so that will be when we can say it's really happened. But much like Uptown's been a 30-year evolution. So we're going on year 10.
Okay.
So it is happening.
I listen.
And I was there when Uptown got started, with Valletta Lil, and people were wondering, when is this going to happen? And now we've got West Village, and we've got so many things that are attracting young people and new people into this community, and they feel immediately connected because it's a neighborhood within a neighborhood, and the Katy Trail, and so to me, the International District is much like that, where we're going to be kind of moving and evolving in phases. The other thing too is this gives us the first opportunity really in the city of Dallas, where we have the largest infill development in the country, where we've got this blank space where we can actually build a city of the future. So I want people to imagine that the future city here is going to be the size of the city of Kaufman, so 24,000 people during the nights, and during the day it's going to swell to the entire population of Kaufman County. And so we have to really think forward as we're growing the pie of Dallas and we're attracting people to Dallas and staying competitive with our neighbors, not just our neighbors locally, but our neighbors in Chicago and Miami and other places. We're really building the city of the future. So it's kind of inch by inch every once in a while. Every once in a while we get a mile, like with the job center and with the school. And so part of what I think the story that Jaynie and I want to tell people is it's happening, but it would happen a whole lot faster the more people who get on board and the more people who share this vision. And they recognize we're at the very beginning stages of this, and we want more people to be part of that vision and help make it a reality.
Well, listen, I guess I must have struck a nerve right there with just doubting the reality of this.
No.
Listen,
I love that you asked that question.
I am good. I guess let me ask this question. And so you talked a little bit about the night market. And I guess you talked about getting people interested in understanding it's a new day. And so how often, I guess, because I actually didn't hear much about it, are you going to be doing that more often? And kind of what can people expect? And for those who didn't come out that first night, tell me what that was about and kind of how much more we'll see of that.
So we've got lots of definitions of community when it comes to this particular international district. We not only have the international community for the first time have gotten an opportunity to work together. So if you imagine that this night market happened with 3,000 people, next to a Haitian food truck, there was an Indonesian food truck. So it was exactly what we were hoping for, which was collision. Innovation happens through collision. But also that community, that Valley View Galleria area has apartment complexes, it has people, it has lots of movement. And so part of what we're also trying to do is build their community so that they build a neighborhood association and a crime watch and all those different things that really builds community. And so that was what was fun about the event is neighbors got to meet neighbors for the first time, but also people from across town got a chance to meet each other. And we heard people saying, this is the first time I've ever had Haitian food before. And they would buy all sorts of different things. And so we were able to elevate minority and women-owned businesses and international community businesses. And so it's going to be happening quarterly at the Prism Center, although I think we've already outgrown the Prism Center, Jaynie. So I think we're thinking about, doing even bigger than that.
It could very well be. The next one is December 9th.
Okay.
That's sponsored by us. But in addition, at that last event, we heard from groups of people from all around the city who have their own chambers of commerce who've been wanting to do their own market. So, for example, we already have people actively working on an Asian night market that would be all Asian theme. And there's European interest. So we might have more in between. But the city-sponsored event, the next one is December 9th. And it's going to be a Christmas theme or holiday theme. So we're going to be celebrating holidays around the Christmas season from all over the world. So I think we'll have an even broader variety of vendors. And you can get all your Christmas shopping, TC.
That's
You
right.
can get it all done all at once.
December 9th, I already
That's
wrote
it.
it down.
December 9th, you can get all your holiday shopping taken care of. It's going to be a lot like what you would experience with a German or an Austrian Christmas market. So we're looking forward to having that and bringing that to Dallas. And then next year we'll have two more, and we will end with, for that particular year, an international festival. We're actually going to shut down the street, and we're going to actually go even bigger because we've already kind of recognized we may be outgrowing our space already. So be prepared to sign that street closure form.
Listen, I will do whatever it takes to make this successful. Let me ask this. So 5 big things. I think there's over the next several years, next 5 years, I guess. What are the big things and big rocks and big things that we should be aware of or desirous to have happen?
Well, I'll talk about a couple of things, and then you'll fill in. Is that okay, Suzanne?
Perfect.
Great. So I think the most important thing will be the park and identifying exactly which parcels, hopefully going into agreements to be able to purchase those and begin to privately fundraise for that park, because as we know, they have a huge return and it will have an impact, as we talked about earlier. The other really big thing is the North Central Texas Council of Governments has designated this area as a transportation innovation zone. It's an area that they want to test different technologies that could then be used throughout their region. And so they have given us, the Regional Transportation Council has given a $10 million demonstration grant to test autonomous transportation systems that will then be used as a model for, in our case, to go up Montfort to connect the International District to the Silver Line, and then down the road down to the Red Line, so that DART can have that connectivity, but we'll be able to use alternative transportation systems and technology so they can test friction-based energy production and all kinds of really interesting things.
I call it Dallas meets the Jetsons.
That's great.
It really is. I mean, I think one of the things that we love is that there's been so many people who are innovative around AI and technology who's reached out to the council member and myself and said, we want to be part of this action. And again, because it's a blank sheet of paper, it's very easy for them to test technologies in this area. And so we're hoping that this kind of becomes an innovation center, a transportation innovation center. And so we've already looked at what other cities are doing and are looking at trying to bring those things here. So I think for me, the park is number one because it really is the linchpin. I think all great cities have great parks. And it's our opportunity in Dallas to really create something. I also think, too, this is an opportunity for us to really solidify the Dallas International District with tourism. So we did a lot of data analysis. I think I shared some of it with you around why the Dallas International District. But the thing that really struck me when we were doing intercept interviews at DFW and at Love Field is they go to downtown to the convention center and then they don't know what else to do. And so this is really our opportunity to kind of show them all of Dallas and all the great things there is. And part of the reason why we went with the Dallas International District is because it was the top priority for a lot of people when we did those intercept interviews, saying I would stay an extra day because I could visit the food hall, which is what we're considering, or I would want to visit the outdoor amphitheater, which is what we're considering in the park. And I would feel like there are things for me to do that I couldn't get in my own city. So we're also going to start building those things out, one of which is the festival, so that we'll have people from all over the state of Texas and hopefully Oklahoma and Arkansas who will come to Dallas to really experience all these kind of opportunities they may not get into their individual communities. The other thing I'm excited about is as more residents move in, because we have more and more residents who are moving into the area, for us to really build a sense of community in that area. And I think we're already starting to see that, but I'm excited about that. And then, of course, the Galleria, I think, is doing amazing stuff. I think every single day I hear something new happening there. In fact, just this last weekend, the Dallas Galleria announced that there's a store, and I am excited to actually go shop there. I haven't been there yet, and called Mango, that is not in the United States and is from Spain. And they decided to start that store here in Dallas, Texas. And so we're going to see more of those kind of announcements where they're choosing Dallas. And so that's what I'm most excited about.
I want to add one more thing, if I may. And that is, I think it's a great opportunity to do some serious innovation in our housing, which is a huge area of interest, of course, all across the city. So, for example, I've been speaking with a couple of developers. We don't have any housing in Dallas that's culturally designed. Right. And if you look at many cultures around the world, they're based on intergenerational housing. So, for example, imagine a 15-story apartment building, 20-story apartment building that also has built in that mother-in-law suite into the apartment, right? Or has a place for caregiving or a place for an office in the apartment, things like that. It's an opportunity for real innovation that can meet the needs of some of the cultures that have moved to this area and never seen themselves reflected here in Dallas. So it's a chance for that as well.
Well, listen, I'm getting excited. I know I asked earlier, I was very, just trying to make sure that we're moving this thing along. So tell me how individuals, residents, folk from afar, one, can get information on events that will be going on and or just how we're progressing with the Dallas International District.
So first of all, I would go to our website. We have a great website that includes lots of information, all the plans that we're putting together. It's a great Q&A. So DallasInternationalDistrict.com. You can also follow us on social media. So we take lots of pictures along the way. Every speech, we follow Jaynie and Lois and everybody. And you really get a sense of the energy behind this. And truly, this is a group of people who are all volunteer who are moving this forward. And so you can become part of that. So even at the night market market, we had 5 people who volunteered and they want to be part of this. So we'd encourage them to follow us, join us, and certainly if they're so inclined, we obviously are trying to fundraise around the park, so donate.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you, Council Member Jaynie Schultz, and thank you, Suzanne Smith, for being here with us today and for sharing important information for our Dallas residents. And thank you for listening to Keeping It Real. If you would like to listen to more episodes, please follow us on City of Dallas social media and YouTube channels under the video section. Again, thank you, Councilwoman, and thank you, Suzanne.
Pleasure. Thank you.